What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the garage. We are now in week 3. Can you believe it, James?
Yeah, man. Hey, one episode at a time, 1 week at a time, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, we're back on episode 3 and season 1. So for this episode, we're kind of taking a different approach, right? My favorite co-host of all time, James, came up with this idea, and he was like, we should definitely address the media.
So we literally just finished watching The Social Dilemma, and we have so much to talk about, in regarding to this Netflix film, and it got us really thinking. But then we were like, you know what? How about we just save it for the podcast, and we're just gonna talk about it on the podcast. So here we are, right? Media manipulation versus the people, and I think media manipulation is winning. Guys, we gotta address this. Josiah, what do you think?
I'm really excited about trying this out as well. I mean, just watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Highly recommend it to anybody who's like super into documentaries or anything like that. It's one of those documentaries you watch and you have to pause just so your mind can finish exploding. And then you watch it and you're like, okay, hold on, let me pause it so I can digest what this.
Because I know we did that a couple of times just now too.
Yeah.
And this documentary really goes into the human mind and the psychology behind it, and how social media is really controlling us in ways that we never even think of. It's designed to keep us on our phones for as long as possible. And you know what?
We'll definitely go into that.
Yeah.
Before we start, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone who tuned in for episode 2, BLM versus ALM. If you haven't seen it already, go check it out. It's a great episode. Got a lot of good feedback. And
you haven't checked out our first one, go check out our first one too.
Yeah, first episode, it was great. I personally like the first one a little bit more. That's just me. So let's go ahead and kick it off, James. Where do you want to start? This is your idea. Let's go ahead and,
Oh, jeez. All right. So let's talk about the media keeping us on our phones, right? Because that was a big topic in this documentary.
Right.
So the media is designed to, and when we talk about media, we're talking about social media, right?
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the fake news and other media outlets as well.
Careful what you say with the whole fake news thing.
Yeah, I got it. But anyways, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc., all of these social medias are programmed specifically to the way we think, the way we like. So how the Social Dilemma explained itself was what we do online and the way we interact with the social medias, with the way we like things, the way we look at stuff, click on pages, the way we search stuff up on the internet. It's all collected, and it's information catered specifically to you. So if you're going to look up, say, like skateboards, right? You look up skateboards, and the next thing you know, you're going to see skateboards on, say, Amazon. You're going to see skateboards on Facebook. You're going to see famous skateboarders. And then it's going to keep you interacting. Yeah, it's going to keep you interacting with these posts, these medias, these ads, right? And these social medias will advertise specifically whatever you're looking at, right?
Sort of.
And what that will do is it'll generate income and money for the social media platforms, because if you're looking at the ads and you're clicking on the ad...
James, you gotta let me interrupt, bro. Okay, so essentially what James is trying to say, I think, right, is so it's not necessarily that if you look, I mean, what you said wasn't incorrect, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's more so the target, like what you're specifically looking at, right? Like if you're interested in a girl, like it will give you random like, hey, Rebecca's online, wave at her now, or something like that, right? And then you click on Rebecca's page, and that's when the ads start hitting you. That's when they pump you full of ads, right? They give you, pretty much what it is, they give you incentive to get on your phone or look at your phone, and once they see that you're on and engaging with your phone, that's when they hit you with the ad. The ad could be anything from something you've talked about, because I forgot the correct term, I can't remember it, but essentially it's like, you know how Facebook like asks you on your phone, like, do you allow or not allow Facebook to have access to your call history or your text history or your audio. I've seen that before, and I'm like, why in the fuck would Facebook need to see my texts? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that makes no sense to me, but it makes sense now, right? Because they're just gathering information, they're gathering data. And I think one of the really cool things that they said in here is my first thing that I'm going to quote from the documentary is just because Facebook is free doesn't mean it's free. And they're not necessarily selling your data, your information, but what they are using it is a collection of data that they can monopolize, or not monopolize on, but monetize, and take that data, and then based on whatever it is that you like, which is, again, held in some server at Facebook headquarters or all around the United States, and then advertisers will jump on there and be like, we'll pay you this amount of money to target people with this amount of likes. And then Facebook is like, okay, some server, and this kind of goes into a topic we'll talk about later with the whole AI thing. Yeah. It goes into this artificial intelligence program that was written by people who, and it continuously learns more and more and more about you. And the advertisers pay Facebook, and they're like, Facebook, please target this amount of people, this demographic, and then they do, and they pump you full of ads.
Yeah, and the way these ads are making money is by the social medias collecting information about you, right? They're catering specific ads that will probably get you to click on it and possibly buy stuff, right? So essentially, these social medias are selling you to the advertisers in a way. So that way the advertisers can make money.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a giant circle too, because if you go onto like Hulu, right? Hulu has ads on Hulu, within Hulu. So you're paying for a subscription, and then middle of your show, they're just like, go buy Adidas at the Adidas store today. And you're just like, okay, what am I even paying for? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, ultimately, it's this new form of, this new culture, almost, I would call it. Yeah. Where data is the primary source of income for a lot of big businesses. Facebook, I mean, look at Mark Zuckerberg, dude. He's like the third or fourth richest guy in the world. He hosts a free network. Facebook is free. So how's Mark Zuckerberg one of the richest people in the entire world when Facebook is free? That's one of the questions you have to ask yourself.
Facebook's free because it's free for the people to use, but there are ads on it that will keep Facebook running because Facebook's constantly making money off of it.
Yo, so another really interesting thing, something that was one of those moments where I had to pause and kind of digest what he just said, is the whole sending an email to you when you get tagged in a photo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bro. That was trippy.
Oh my god.
Bro, he was like, why is it that an email is sent to you every time you get a message on Facebook? Wouldn't it be much easier to just Facebook pop up on your phone?
All right. When you get a notification, say like on Facebook, right? Say Facebook notifies you via email, right? And then in the email it says, hey, this person tagged you into this picture, or this person posted this, or this person commented about you, right? Or tagged you in this. And then you're like, oh, wow. So through the email, you feel more inclined to click on that link, go into your Facebook, and then what happens? You're on Facebook, and you know what? You check out whatever that email was about, and you keep scrolling through Facebook. You're trapped on Facebook.
Well, it's not even just about being. I mean, it is about being trapped on Facebook. Yeah. But I know me personally, right? Once I see an email pop up, I don't even check the email. The email is almost irrelevant to me. And I'm like, oh, okay. It just, what happens is you get the email and it pops up on your phone, and then you're back on your phone. Yeah. It's not even about the email leading you directly to Facebook. You know what I mean? Google and Facebook are two different things. So, you know what I mean? Why is that? I think it's because they all kind of work together in collaboration, knowing that data is the big thing right now. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And so, whether you go to Facebook or you go to Instagram, which is also owned by Facebook, just in case anyone hasn't seen the big Facebook right underneath Instagram, or Twitter or whatever, they're just capitalizing on ads. Yeah. And they're capitalizing on data that is collected through 2013 was an insane example of that. Mm-hmm. right? It was an extreme example, right? And it was government affiliated, not necessarily social media affiliated. Well, I mean, 2013 with Snowden, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Dude, whistleblowed the entire whole setup of what was going on, and it was because I actually watched a podcast on that today while I was at work. It was the Joe Rogan versus, or not Joe Rogan versus, but Joe Rogan with Snowden on. It was the very first one, really? And he was saying stuff like, he was just like, you know, this is crazy. This kind of dwells apart from the subject matter, but essentially what he's saying is that 9/11 could have definitely been prevented had the agencies worked together. They were just more so like trying to take the victory for stopping 9/11, and by the time they realized that not one agency could do that, it was too late. But essentially what I'm trying to get at is that he was saying that post 9/11 everyone was freaking out. Everyone was like, okay, what do we do? So they created all these laws via Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, where data was allowed to be contained. Mm-hmm. And there was a law that came out specifically so that Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these like huge social media platforms didn't get sued for collecting the data. And it was because of post 9/11 that happened. There was a law that came out because the government was scared shitless, and the government was like, okay, how do we stop this? How can we make sure this never happens again? And they were like, we need data. We need to watch people. We need to do all this. And they asked the social media people to be like, the founders and creators or whoever, like, hey, can you collect data for us? And then they were like, no, because that's illegal. And they were like, but if you pass a law to allow us to do it, we'll do it. And that's exactly what happened. And that was the beginning. That was really the beginning of it all, you know?
Yeah. So I got to ask you a question real quick. You said that right after 9/11, was Facebook even around at that time? You said something about Facebook or other social medias.
I was just talking about social medias in general, but no, I don't believe Facebook was. I think it was still MySpace at the time.
Yeah, MySpace, and probably like the majority of it was probably like email.
Yeah, but that's essentially what we'll tag. I'm gonna go ahead and tag in the description exactly which act it was, but it was like the American Data Collection Act of whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which essentially gave all these social media platforms, emails, all that, the green light to start collecting information and data on American citizens legally. Mm-hmm. And that's the act that kind of, started it.
The really interesting thing about social media is they really do control you, and they really can manipulate you to doing whatever they want.
No, they do.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, they definitely can, unless if you're like consciously aware of it, right? And you can like actively resist it. But in The Social Dilemma, I saw ISIS, right? And it just like clicked in my head, and I was like, holy shit. A while ago, wasn't ISIS recruiting kids or something from like all around the world to join the regime?
Yep.
And then some of these kids would actually fly over to Syria or wherever, and they would start fighting for ISIS.
Yeah. Because
they manipulated these kids into doing whatever they thought was right for the kids, right?
Well, I mean, you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the same way, and we're going to get into this a little bit more, how the government kind of uses it, or again, towards the end of The Social Dilemma, they were talking about Russia and how they influenced the 2016 election, mm-hmm. right? And there's a huge thing about it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, who's to say that ISIS wasn't using the same tactics that Russia used to influence the 2016 election, right? They were pushing it, and at the end of the day, they weren't doing anything illegal. They were just using the tools that were given to them, mm-hmm. right? They were like, hey, ISIS. Well, they didn't directly say this, so I'm not saying that Instagram or Facebook said any of this. What I am saying is that they created the tools.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying that ISIS did this or they didn't do this because I don't have enough information on it to say it. But I do remember exactly what you're talking about. And people were in like England and the United States and Australia. They were like, yeah, ISIS, woo. And they were like, let's go to Syria. And they were really going from their home countries over to Syria to take part in the regime.
That's pretty ridiculous, man. But it just goes to show you how much the media can make people think a certain way. So just think about the most recent event, right? The biggest one of 2020, the coronavirus, right? Remember how when it first came out, people thought it was like, oh no, it's not that big of a deal, and Well, honestly, I didn't think it was that big of a deal at first too, but that's just ignorance. But then as the media was spreading it and hyping it up to either being bigger than what it was, maybe it is, I don't know, but it's just my opinion. I don't think it's as big as what people make it out to be, right? But anyways, because of the coronavirus, all these laws, these not laws, but like quarantines, restrictions, all of this mass buying of toilet paper, which is ridiculous, by the way. But all right, all of these things that happened were because the media was hyping it up, and everybody that was sucked into the media was hyping it up, and everybody around you was hyping it up. That you possibly were eventually sucked into it as well, and it made you act a certain way. And I know, as a matter of fact, because of the coronavirus, Asian people were somewhat targeted, right? In a way, they were shit on. They were, whatever you want to say, right? It does go to show how much the media can make people think a certain way, right? So, what's to say that the media won't control the world in a way to the point where it bends the people of the world to think and act a certain way in the future? I mean, I guess what I mean by that is the world could one day literally be burning all around you, and you would never know because you don't take the time to look up from your phone. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, okay, so your view and your opinion on like this post-apocalyptic world, right? Where essentially the cities and everything else is burning around you, and you're not looking up from your phone. I could see it as it's already burning around you. I mean, I think about something that we did recently, right, where we were going to post something on a Facebook, and because the garage is under a business category, they literally told me I couldn't post if it potentially altered or changed or influenced the election in any way. I was also told that because of the social, if there was a social issue around it, then we couldn't post it, right? And at first I was very much so enraged, right? And after watching The Social Dilemma, it makes a lot more sense, right? Because you're saying that, who's to say that the government doesn't control us in the future? Who's to say that, elections aren't already being dictated? But I think all that stuff is already happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think based on where you live, and it's said in The Social Dilemma, so if you guys go watch it, it says very clearly that it's based on where you live, it's based on who you affiliate with, it's based on the things you've already looked up, right? Like I don't think you could change my mind that's not already being done, or the government's agenda is not already being pushed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even think that Facebook almost has anything to do with it. I think it's the government taking advantage of a society where they're very aware that we don't look up from our phones, and they take advantage of the fact that Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat has trillions and trillions of things on their feed that they can capitalize on. And I think it's already being done.
Yeah, for sure. So think of it like this: what if people were given, say, certain political parties, ideas or agendas, and maybe one person's like, you know what, I like this one, and they follow the one specific one first, right? So say they follow party number one, and so then once they start following party number one, or seeing what their agenda is, and they start liking whatever is on their agenda, the social media platforms, it's going to start feeding them more of party number one's, on their newsfeed.
Yeah. And
it's just going to fuel them. The guy that is looking at party number one's political agenda, somewhere along the lines, they're going to see that, you know what, I hate political party number two because of what is said on their newsfeed.
So yeah, no, I think what you're saying is pretty accurate. You know what I mean? I think that The social dilemma again. We're going to reference the social dilemma a lot throughout this episode, just because, you know what I mean. We're kind of essentially giving our opinion on it.
Yeah, pretty much. We literally just watched it and we decided to do a podcast specifically on the subject that matter, you know?
Yeah. But what it said is that what is really interesting is that they were talking about AIs and how even though it was written by a man, right, or a woman, or whoever wrote it, that it wasn't created to do that specific task.
Yeah.
It was designed to take the information and then get a better idea of how to target you even more. Mm-hmm. And that AI consistently grows every single day, figuring out what you like more and more and more, and the best ads to give to you and the best things to put in your face. Which I think is really interesting, because one of the biggest things that I took away from that is that ultimately what they're doing is they're hacking into a very deep fundamental level of our psychology and our psyche as a human species. And it's so deeply rooted that everybody is completely blind to it. And if you're not blind to it, does not mean that you're not susceptible to it, because the people that actually created it talk about how much they're influenced by it. Yes, like they're one of the main guys that was talking about it. He was like, you know what? I created this, this specific one, and I think it's almost ironic that I go home and I fall victim to the same thing that I created. I go home and I'm on my phone 24/7, even though he said he had 2 kids that deeply needed his love and affection, and he fell victim to his own software design. Yes.
Yeah, man. So going back to the AI, right? In the documentary, it was saying that the AI really has no control over what it wants to necessarily post, per se, right? It's not like it's trying to make you more of a bad person or more of a good person. But say it feeds you fake news of some sort, right? Feeds you some kind of...
Like drinking water can cure coronavirus?
Yeah, like that one, right? So say you start following a bunch of hoax, you believe in it, and then you like it, you look it up, you follow it on the social media platform or whatever platform you're looking at, then it takes account of that information, and then it feeds you more information, right? Fake information. If it's a hoax, then it's going to feed you more of a hoax, right? If it's going to feed you any kind of fake news, it's going to continuously feed you more fake news just because you like the fake news because you thought maybe it was real, right? And as a result, it's just going to continuously make you more and more ignorant on the fact that you're following fake news and you don't know what's real and what's not real. And then it kind of creates this divide in a way within the community, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and with the divide, it just separates us more and more, which is kind of ironic because social media is supposed to bring us closer together, but now in a way, due to all these ads and all these fake news and all these sides, right?
Demographics.
Yeah, demographics, sure. It makes us more separated, more divided, and makes us more against each other nowadays, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, right? So I'm going to go ahead and call it now. I think we're on brink of civil war, like within the United States. But I don't completely put the blame on social media AI either. I think a lot of the media collectively makes that happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, not going to go back into this topic because we talked about it last week, but I think social media, not social media, but like CNN, ABC, Fox, right? They feed into it just on a human level, though, right? They, just like Facebook wanted to make money, so they created the AI, these news media platforms do essentially the same thing. They post stories which will get views, which will get clicks, which will get viewers, which, you know what I mean? But that's what they do, you know what I mean? They post stories, quote-unquote newsworthy stories that will draw your attention in and bait you like a fish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't completely blame the AI for just all the division. You know what I mean? We have to take responsibility as humans. I mean, if we really wanted to fix the issue, I think one of the things we have to look at is ourselves. To be completely honest, right? We have to put it on our shoulders to take accountability and do actual research before being like, hey, let's take to the streets for anything. Anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not singling out any single movement, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? We just see what we see and we hear what we hear and we take it as truth and fact. And then that's pretty much it. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I would definitely say the majority of people are like that.
Yeah, for us to kind of fix that, I'd say whatever you guys take in, I'd probably say, go out and do your own research, right? And everything we talk about today is just opinionated for the most part.
Right, yeah. I think absolutely. I'm even going to say it for our own podcast. Don't take what we say for truth. Go do your own research. Like, hopefully we spark incentive to do that. But whatever we say on this podcast, like, if you should definitely fact check us. You should fact check anybody that you get information from. As far as you guys know, I could be like a 80-year-old white woman with a voice filter. You know what I'm saying? That is so far on the left side that I'm just feeding you whatever I want to feed you to make you think a certain kind of way. And that's the way you should take an approach to everything that you come across. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just my opinion on it, right? Of course.
For what it's worth, it's just everything on this podcast is, for this episode at least, is mostly just our opinion and our perspectives. Take it for what it's worth. And, hopefully it'll spark some other perspectives that we might not even have thought about or even talked about. And you guys can talk about it amongst yourselves or amongst other people.
Comment it. I want to learn more too. If our audience has something amazing they want to say that will enlighten us, like, drop a comment, DM us, go follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and let us know. All the stuff can be found on our website. Make sure you hit that up. Another really interesting thing that was said. They were painting a scenario, right, where a family was having dinner at the table, right, and prior to that scene, they were explaining it to us like it's a drug. And it's not that social media is an actual drug, right? But the chemical release that it triggers for us, dopamine, serotonin, right? We get addicted to that. And we get addicted to that to such a high level that we experience actual withdrawals from our phones. Yep. Like actual withdrawals. And I think the scene that they painted was perfect. This little girl lost her mind, went and like bashed in the cage that it was being held in, essentially, and got her phone out. And I think it was also interesting. They were trying to have conversation at the table, and the mom that put the phones in there in the first place was irritable. So was the dad, because they were already experiencing such high levels of withdrawal from being away from their phone for 10 seconds. And then they hear the bing or the zzz, you know what I'm saying? And they don't really freak out, but they're like, okay, I need to go check my phone. Something popped up on my phone. Let me go look. And that is where I would blame, like, the Mark Zuckerbergs and the CEOs of places like Instagram and Snap, because they knew what they were doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Was it created directly for evil? No, right? But they knew that they were doing. They knew what they were capitalizing on, and they knew they were capitalizing on a very, very deep-rooted psychological thing that lies within all of us.
Yeah. So in the documentary, there are actors that play out how society is with the technology, right? But in this documentary as well, there are actual people who have worked with these social media platforms, and they have quit and they've spoken their minds because they saw how essentially fucked up it was, that it's changing the way people are now. It's changing kids at a very young age to the point where they're less social. They get less social interactions at such a young age that by the time they grow up, they become, in a way, socially awkward, right?
Yeah, I mean, not only that, right? Statistically, they were showing statistics from. Can you list the source? What was the source?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's CDC, right?
Yeah. So these statistics were showing the level of depression and anxiety within preteens and teenagers up until adulthood, and depression and anxiety were through the roof, right? And then they looked at non-fatal depression and anxiety correlations, and then they started looking at actual suicide, and the numbers again were astronomical from I think the year was about 2011, right? And they just continuously rise and rise and rise. And one of the main reasons that they pointed this out was because of the self-image in it all. I mean, Snapchat has the biggest thing on Snapchat right now is filters. The same thing for Instagram, right? They create a poor self-image of what a preteen or teenager looks like, and then they'll post it, and then they'll get all these amazing feedbacks. I'm not going to name any specific names, but I know a person specifically who I've seen this affect. But she had lost a significant amount of weight, and she was posting pictures of herself online. And everyone was like, oh, you look amazing, you look beautiful, you look beautiful, you look beautiful. And they created a poor self-image for her. And anytime after she had gained weight, she never felt worthy of posting it. Yeah. Because the only time she got that kind of attention was when she was skinny. Yeah. And she's basing that all off of a heart or a thumbs up. Yeah. Or a, hey, you look good. Or, wow, you've lost so much weight. And it's destroying the self-image of very young people, male and female. Male is no exemption. Me personally, again, I'll tell my own personal story, right? On Snapchat, I throw on these filters and I'm like, damn, I look good, Yeah. But it's false. It's not real, They were actually saying in the documentary, people are going out and having cosmetic surgery to make themselves look more like what they look in these Snapchat filters. Nothing against Snapchat. Sorry, Snapchat.
Yeah. With the likes and the hearts and the thumbs up or whatever it is, right? I think it was one of the Facebook guys that was in the documentary. He said that the thumbs up was created for a whole separate purpose, right? But who knew that it was gonna essentially be a form of validation on social media? It in a way affects you because you might be more inclined to think that you deserve likes, right? Say you think you deserve likes, you deserve hearts, or whatever it is on Facebook or wherever it is, right? And say when you don't get it, you feel a little bit shitty. Say you get like, I don't know, 20 thumbs up, and then the next day you get like maybe 3. It makes you feel a little bit bad, even though it really shouldn't. It really shouldn't, just because it's, I don't even know how to explain it. It shouldn't even bother you. But it affects people in such a way that it makes them think that they're unworthy, which is pretty insane. Like I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know how to put it into words. I don't even know how it affects people. I don't even know what goes into this affecting people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely get it, but I can actually relate. If you guys, the audience, right, go and look at our page. Look at how many downloads we had the first episode, and look at how many downloads we had the second episode. We hit like literally a really, really high number our first 24 hours of launch, right? And you can ask James, right? Mm-hmm. When I saw that we didn't have as many downloads as we did the first episode on the second episode, I lost my mind. Lost it. Completely lost it. Now, if you guys want to go make me feel better, make sure you go download the second episode so Josiah can feel great about himself and his work. But no, seriously, in all reality, though, I saw the drop in downloads. And without even looking at the statistics and realizing, okay, this is okay, before I even took it to an intellectual standpoint, really breaking down the statistics, I saw it for just face value. Okay, we have less likes. Why do we have less likes? What's going on? Am I not good enough? Is the content I'm creating not good enough? Brief second, I really did lose my mind. You can ask James.
Yeah, that's why I had to, keep you in check, bud.
That really happened. But that's just because, I really do want to make great content, and I really started to question my ability to create content, even though it really didn't have anything to do with anything at all. You know,
Yep.
it's just what society's put in our heads as good enough, as acceptable.
Yeah, in a way, these social medias, once you say, let's say you reach a certain expectation, right? You're expecting that same level of expectation, and you're striving for more. But when you don't reach that, again, like you feel like shit, and then you feel inadequate, even though it really shouldn't matter because there's a whole, there's a galaxy full of variables that you may or may not know about. For example, like for all we know, the majority of the people were busy that day, and then they just didn't want to watch our podcast. Who knows?
Not even that. What about self-worth? Like what about self-worth? What about whatever happened to, okay, I got less downloads the second episode than the first episode. I know I make great content. You know what I mean? At least I approve of what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing. Who cares about the downloads? What about self-worth? You know what I mean? When did we lose that? Like, who cares what other people think? I know I'm worthy. I don't care about what the variable is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have no idea, man. At what point in our society did we suddenly put our self-worth into the hands of other people?
Exactly. 100%.
Kind of makes me question. I mean, I'm never on social media for the most part, right? Except for, talking to people or texting people, but I don't really see a point in social media. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do spend a lot of time on YouTube, but even then, I don't understand why people put their self-worth onto social media and expect it from other people, when really you could be building your own self-worth and knowing your own self-worth at that point.
Yeah, it's determined off of likes or downloads.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just one of the major issues that I had with it. Kind of moving forward, one of the other really interesting statistics from this entire documentary was how rapidly the technology is advancing.
Oh yeah,
dude! I think he said there was like 300 trillion.
No, it was like 10 quadrillion. Okay, no, it's not. All right. It said that the computer processing speed has improved 10 quadrillion times or more. Something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, essentially what they were saying is that this technology is advancing faster than any single technology in all of human existence.
Yes.
The technology area is moving so fast that our brains have no way of actually catching up. And one thing that human species does very well is adapt. Right? We've always been very good at adapting. The issue is that we have created this AI, right, or artificial intelligence, right? For anyone who's not familiar, this technology has been created, and it's not even moving at our speed anymore. We're not dictating how fast it moves.
Mm-hmm.
It's just growing at exponential rates. Again, faster than any invention or science in human history. Faster than cars. Faster than the railroad. Faster than the horse and the wagon. Anything. It blows it completely out of the water. And one of the things that they said is that while that is increasing at such rapid rates, you know what it's not? Evolution within the human species.
Yeah.
So essentially what they're saying is that AI is moving so extraordinarily fast that we have no way of keeping up.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, and ultimately, I think Elon. The more I learn about AI, dude, the more I agree with Elon Musk and his theory on AI taking over the world,
mm-hmm.
which is also very interesting. And leads me to my next point, which is who says AI is not already running the world? That's what was said in the documentary. We don't have to worry about Arnold Schwarzenegger coming back 2,000 years in the future,
or iRobot,
or whatever. Right? It already is controlling the world. It already is at a very, very minute level. I think what they said is you could change 1% of something you do in your daily life, and you can make millions from it.
Mm-hmm. So how would you say it's changing our lives right now? Right? I'm not okay. How would you say that it's taking over the world right now? I have an answer, but I want to hear yours.
My answer would be simply that it is affecting us in the real world, in real world time. It's affecting and influencing elections, riots in the streets, deaths, like real stuff that applies to the real world. You know, it changes everything we do. You know, I mean, if you look at the average time someone spends on a phone, right, just bing, bing, sliding through and through and through their feed. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's changing what we do. It has the smallest effect. If you look at the smallest effect being scrolling through your phone for 6 hours a day, to the highest position in the free world, the election. There was a huge scandal in 2016 that said that the Russians had a huge or major impact on the 2016 election. That's massive.
Yep.
So not only is it having small consequences, whether that be, and I don't look at that as a small consequence anyway, I'm just saying that in correlation to the election.
Yeah.
Right? But if you look at small being just scrolling through your phone for 6 hours mindlessly, then yeah, as a small effect like that, I don't think it's small, but again, in comparison to the highest position of the free world, it is kind of small. Not saying that we're small compared to the president, but I mean, come on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, but yeah, it's having significant impacts all over the world. Like I said, riots in the street, man. Riots in the streets. I think what one of the guys said was extremely important. I think it's extremely relevant. What is the biggest threat we face? And he said civil war. And I've been saying that for years. I think we are really, really close. That's just my opinion. It could be in the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I don't know. But I think one of the next big things the United States is going to have to overcome is going to be a civil war.
Okay. All right.
Now, what do you think? I want to know.
My thoughts on...
Your question.
Yeah, I know. My thoughts on AI
impact
already controlling the world, right?
Yeah.
It's already dictating a lot of our lives, right? Some of our viewers right here, our listeners, it's taking up so much time. It's preventing you from going out there and learning a new skill, a new talent, and restricting your ability to go out and pursue that one little hobby, that one little passion that you have. And you may not even notice it, but it is. So I recently downloaded this little app, and I'm going to pull it up real quick, right? And it tracks how much time I've been on my phone. So right here on my phone, right, it's about 12 hours.
Every day?
12 hours. But to be fair, I was driving the majority of the day today, which was about like 4 hours. So I'm going to take that out. And playing music on the side. But still, I was on my phone the majority of the day, right?
I mean,
and that's kind of crazy. I mean, if I weren't on my phone, think about how much I could have accomplished within 12 hours minus 4 hours of driving. Think about how much I could have accomplished in that 8 hours. Think about what kind of skill or what kind of book or whatever thing I wanted to do. Right? Think about all the things that I could have done within those 8 hours. And now think about those 8 hours, right? Or whatever time you guys spend on your phones a day. And multiply that by 7. How much time are you losing throughout the week? And then multiply that by 4 in a month. And then you know what? Might as well just multiply it by 12 too and see how much time you're losing out of your lives within that year, right? And it's unbelievably crazy, honestly. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, I agree with you on a fundamental aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think the average person spends 12 hours of their day on their phone. What I can say though, first off, is that we're kind of an exemption to that rule, only because we're pursuing something that entails us to be on our phones, to be on our laptops, right? Now, I don't necessarily see that as awful. Now, if I were to say it's taking time away from very important matters in my life, right? I mean, even then, that's what entrepreneurs do. You know what I'm saying? That's what people who are trying to accomplish something more. You know what I mean? I mean, do you not agree with that?
I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, your very fundamental principle I do agree with. 100% agree with that. You know, aside from us trying to grow the garage and trying to open people's minds, you know, aside from that, or if you are pursuing something along those lines, like an online store, right? Because COVID hit and now you have to hit sales in order for your family to sustain, right? Aside from actual things that can monetize and you can make a career of, other than that, if you're spending 12 hours a day on your phone, or 8 hours a day on your phone, or 6 hours a day on your phone, yes, that time absolutely adds up. And I think it is absolutely crazy how much time, if you look at the grand scheme of things, 12 months being a year, how much time you waste on your phone. For anybody that's not doing that, yeah, I mean, seriously, you could be doing so much more. So much more, you know? But it's because we are addicted. I don't think I'm an exception to the rule. I don't think James is an exception to the rule.
Absolutely not.
I don't think the people that created this entire monster to begin with are an exemption from the rule. There's no exemptions. It just knows exactly what to do. So what do we do?
I have a couple of ideas, but I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. And for those of you guys that think that you guys might not be an exception to being addicted to social media, the AI literally studies you to the point where it picks and chooses what you like and puts it on your social media to the point where you're like, oh, you know what? I like this. Then you're going to scroll down a little bit more, and then you're going to find something you like, and then you're going to like it. Or you're going to comment, you're going to share, you're going to react to it, whatever you're going to do. You're going to spend more time, and it's just going to continuously pop up on your feed until somebody snaps you back to reality or something happens, and then you just put your phone down, and then you just remember, oh yeah, I got to go do this, right? And it's pretty unbelievably crazy. I don't even know what to say. I don't have a word for people being addicted and being controlled by media. I have no thoughts for it.
Just to give you guys a visual of what's happening right now, James is quite literally losing his mind trying to think of this.
Yeah, if you guys really stop and think about it, it really is crazy. It's like world domination, but not in physical form.
You want to know one of the great analogies that they use that I think kind of hits on your point?
What's up?
Is there's 2.7 billion Truman shows going on every single day.
Holy shit! Yeah, you're right. They did say that. So in the documentary, it was saying, if you guys ever seen the Truman Show, it's like one person. It's
shout out Jim Carrey. No, okay. So pretty much what it is there is a massive audience, right? All watching this one guy live his life, and everyone around him is in on it. Everybody, from his parents to his girlfriend to everybody who's ever been involved with his life, he's living a life that he thinks is his actual life. But in reality, everything was mapped out to be a specific way, to play a specific part.
Yeah.
Right? Everything was designed around him. Everything that he sees, touches, tastes, everything was designed that way. And I think that analogy really kind of hits home. If you've seen The Truman Show, if not, definitely go watch it. An amazing movie. Yeah. I think it kind of hits the nail right on the head with what James is trying to say.
Yeah, because look at it like this, right? You guys are on your social medias, and everything is catered specifically to you. Your world is on your social media platforms, and everything is catered to you. It is your own world. It is your own show on social media.
Or Truman Show.
Yeah, your own Truman Show. You are
yeah.
the individual in the Truman Show. You are the main character. Right. What do we do about this media manipulation? Right. What do we do about people being stuck on their phones? About being not controlled by AIs, but having AIs gather information about us, right? Well, I definitely do think that the social medias are good in terms of keeping us connected in a way, right? Now, and this is my opinion, I think we should get rid of Snapchat, Instagram, definitely Twitter, and maybe just keep Facebook, right? But not the Facebook itself, but maybe just the Messenger, because in my opinion, Facebook Messenger is actually pretty good at useful because you can talk to people, but you don't need to post pictures about yourself, right? Necessarily, you don't need to post statuses. You don't need Snapchat.
You're gonna throw us out of business, James.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, if some of these social medias are a little too extra, and these social medias are taking us further away from reality, right? If we were to take away Facebook Messenger and just go to emailing people,
Jesus,
I think we probably move a little too far back in time. But because Messenger is pretty instant, right? It's like instant messaging, which is pretty good. So those are just some of my thoughts about solving this issue, right? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so here's my thing, right? Us as a human species, we've always evolved and we've always adapted, right? I, again, from a very logical standpoint, do not think or can say the solution is to get rid of everything, because I think that would be, one, I don't think that would ever happen, right? One of the things that I do think that we could do, though, is just like we tax, I think we could tax on data, which would give these organizations a huge incentive to maybe not store as much. If we taxed on how much data these specific organizations had, it would provide an incentive for them maybe not to collect nearly as much, or not to sell it nearly as much, right? Because they would be taxed for the data, just like we tax on goods. And that idea comes from the social dilemma. When I saw that and I heard that presented to me, I was like, wow, that just makes an insane amount of sense. Because like I said, I do not believe that people are just going to put down Snapchat or put down Instagram or put down Facebook. It's just not going to happen. I mean, if we're really trying to solve the issue, we have to realize what the issue is and the realistic changes that could be made to solve the issue. Your thoughts?
My additional thoughts on this is, honestly, I don't have much because I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about this. We literally watched this documentary about an hour ago. We finished it about an hour ago or so. Now here we are recording it. With a topic as deep and very mind-opening as this one, I probably have to sit down and think about it a lot more. But for some of you listeners out there, I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts. Definitely send us a message or so. And you know what? Maybe we can have a little chat in the discussion. A little comment in DMs or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. With that being said, guys, we're going to start wrapping it up for this episode. We just, again, would like to thank everyone who supported and followed us thus far. If you liked today's episode, please make sure you share the content with others that would also like maybe the same content. Make sure you go and follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, and our Twitter, where we'll give you guys and provide live updates and updates on our episodes and what the next topic will be. Make sure that you hit that download button. The more downloads we got, the more available we are to keep our content free, which we ultimately want to do, even in the long term, after, the garage blows up, which, I'm an optimist. You ask me cup half full, cup half empty. I'm always going to say it's half full. So make sure you hit that download button. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for tonight's episode. We hope that you enjoyed the content. And that pretty much wraps it up from the garage.
All right. I just want to throw a couple of more pointers out there for you guys. Pointers, tips, whatever you guys want to call it, right? So an app that I have on my phone is called Stay Focused. And what it does is it keeps tracks of the amount of time you've been on your phone, and you can also block certain social media apps with this app as well. So that way you stay off social media. So if you guys are looking to save time in your day and be more productive, I definitely recommend stay focused. I'm sure there are other apps out there that you guys can use, but if you guys are interested and serious about trying to cut time out of your social media time, right? Then I recommend you guys putting an effort and doing your best to get some of that time back into your lives and doing something you guys find meaningful. All right.
Thank you guys again for everything. We'll see you guys next week on our next episode. I'm sure you guys will not want to miss that either. Stay tuned. Thank you guys again, and good night.
And as always, take care.